The sky above Earth's biggest stadium turned dark as a strange ship entered the atmosphere. People across the world watched on their screens as the ship landed with a loud thud. Soldiers surrounded the area, but they did not attack. Waited. Something or someone was coming. The ship door opened with a hiss. Out stepped a tall, strong figure in silver armor. His skin was dark blue, his eyes glowing like fire. He looked like a creature from a nightmare, but he stood calm, confident. His name was Zarnik, and he was a warrior from the alien race called Varnik. Zarnik walked to the center of the stadium, holding a giant sword on his back. His voice echoed loudly as he spoke into a translator device on his chest. "I am Zarnik of Varnik," he said. "We come to test the strength of Earth. Not with ships, not with bombs, but with honor. 101 combat. Varnak way." The world was silent. Zarnik raised one finger and smiled. "I will fight your best warrior. If they win, Earth earns our respect. If I win, we take your best technology. Simple deal." And he added with a loud laugh, "I also make a promise. If a pathetic human ever beats me, I will marry them." "But that will never happen." The crowd around him gasped. Some laughed nervously. Who could beat such a strong alien? The leaders of Earth gathered quickly. They tried to decide who should fight. Many soldiers were brave, but they all knew they couldn't win. Zarnik was not just strong, he was fast, smart, and trained in 1,000 battles. Then, from the back of the crowd, someone stood up. A young man in plain clothes, not a soldier, not a fighter. His name was Tom. He was an engineer, known for fixing machines and building strange tools. He wore glasses, had quiet eyes, and always kept his voice low. "I'll do it," Tom said. People turned in shock. "You?" one officer asked. "Not a soldier." "I know," Tom said softly. "But no one else is stepping forward. And I think maybe I can outsmart him." Zarnik looked at Tom and raised an eyebrow. "This is your champion?" he asked, smiling wide. "He looks like a child." Tom walked forward anyway. He didn't look scared. He stood before the alien warrior and nodded. "I accept the challenge," Tom said. "But I want time. Give me 5 days." "Let me prepare." Zarnik thought for a moment. Then he nodded. 5 days. Wait. Then we fight here. In front of all. The world now had something new to talk about. News channels played the moment again and again. People made jokes, memes. Some laughed at Tom. Others hoped he would surprise everyone. Many believed he would lose, but Tom didn't care. He had work to do. Back in his small lab, Tom sat alone, drawing ideas on his screen. He wasn't planning to fight with fists. He was planning with his mind. He built a small suit, not strong, but light and quick. He added boosters to his shoes. He designed small traps, smoke bombs, flashlights, and magnetic nets. He wasn't trying to hurt Zarnik. He was trying to win smart. On the 4th night, someone knocked on his lab door. It was a woman with short dark hair and silver eyes. She wore a simple alien robe. "I am Mira," she said. "I came with Zarnik. I'm his translator. But I want to help you." Tom looked confused. "Help me." Mira nodded. "Zarnik laughs at humans. He thinks we're weak. But you stepped up. That's not weakness. That's courage. I respect that." Tom smiled a little. "Thanks. I need all the help I can get." Mira told him about Zarnik's fighting style. It was fast, but proud. He never expected tricks. He never backed down. He always attacked from the front. Tom listened carefully and adjusted his tools. By the 5th day, the stadium was packed again. The whole world watched. Zarnik stood in the middle, shining like steel. Tom walked out slowly, wearing his suit. He looked small next to the alien giant. But he didn't look scared. The announcer shouted, "Let the challenge begin." Zarnik charged forward. His sword moved like lightning, but Tom rolled aside and pressed a button. Smoke filled the air. The crowd cheered. Zarnik swung blindly. Tom jumped behind and dropped a net. Zarnik broke it fast, but it slowed him. Tom fired a light that blinded one of Zarnik's eyes for 5 seconds. Zarnik roared in anger. Tom was not winning by power. He was winning by speed, by thinking ahead. He dodged, ran. Confused Zarnik with clever traps. But it was not enough. Zarnik caught him at last and tossed him across the ground. Tom hit the wall hard. His suit cracked. His arm was hurt. The alien walked slowly toward him. "You fought well, human," Zarnik said. "Better than I expected, but still, not enough."
Ow.
Tom stood up limping. "I'm not done yet," he clicked. His last button, the floor under Zarnik shifted. A magnetic trap pulled the alien's sword out of his hand and stuck it to the wall. The crowd gasped. Carnek. Stood still, unarmed. For the first time, surprised. Tom smiled. "I didn't beat you, but I made you drop your sword." Zarnik laughed a deep, full laugh. "No one has ever made me do that before. Not even Varnik champions." Looked at Tom with something new in his eyes. Not anger. Respect. "I will." "See you again, little human," Zarnik said. "Next time. Maybe you will win." The crowd was still cheering when the match ended. Tom sat on the ground, breathing hard. His suit was damaged, his arm hurt, and he had lost the fight. But he had done something no one expected. He had surprised the great warrior Zarnik. Zarnik stood above him, holding his sword again, but he didn't raise it. He looked at Tom with respect, not anger. "You are not strong," Zarnik said, "but you are clever. You fight with your head, not your fists. That is rare, even among my people." Tom gave a weak smile. "I told you, I'm not a soldier. I'm just an engineer." Zarnik nodded. "You lost, but you made me think." "That is a kind of victory." Then Zarnik turned to the crowd and raised his voice. "Humans, your champion did not defeat me, but he earned my respect. He has my word. He may fight again, if he dares." With that, Zarnik walked back to his ship. The crowd was silent for a moment, then people began to clap. It started small, but grew louder. They were not clapping for a win. They were clapping for courage. That night, Tom sat in his room, arm wrapped in a bandage. News reports showed clips of the fight over and over again. Some called him foolish. Others called him brave. Many said one thing. He had made history. His phone buzzed. It was a message from Mira, the Varnock translator. "Meet me at the old hangar. Tomorrow, I have something to show you," Tom replied with a simple, "Okay." The next day, Tom arrived at the hangar. Myra was already there, wearing a long brown coat. Beside her was a strange-looking machine. "This is Varnock tech," she said. "It's a training sphere. It can copy Zarnik's movements. You can use it to train." Tom walked around it, amazed. "You brought this for me?" "Yes," Mira said. "I don't care what the others say. You're the first human who showed real spirit in front of the Varnock. That matters." Tom smiled. "Thank you, Mira. I won't waste this." From that day on, Tom trained every morning and evening. He didn't try to become strong like a fighter. He used the sphere to learn timing, patterns, and Zarnik's habits. He also worked on his tools. He made his boots faster, designed better traps, and a new arm shield. Every piece was light but useful. Myra often watched him and gave advice. "Zarnik is proud," she said. "If you make him angry, he fights worse. Use that." 3 weeks later, Tom got a message. It came from space from Zarnik's ship. "I will return to Earth in 5 days. If you still wish to challenge me, prepare yourself." Tom looked at the message for a long time. Then he nodded. "I'll be ready." The second match was held in the same stadium. Once again, people around the world tuned in. This time the crowd was larger. And this time, they cheered for Tom. Carnek stepped out of his ship, looking powerful as always. But when he saw Tom, he gave a slight smile. "You came back," Zarnik said. "I said I would," Tom replied. "No human has ever challenged a Varnock warrior twice," Zarnik said. "You are either very brave, very foolish." "Maybe both," Tom said. The announcer shouted, "The match begins." Now, Zarnik charged, sword raised, but Tom was ready. He pressed a button on his wrist. A small flash blinded Zarnik for a moment. Tom rolled to the side, throwing a smoke ball. The alien swung wide but missed. Tom used the moment to land a strike, not a punch, but a small electric dart. It hit Zarnik's shoulder, slowing his arm for a few seconds. Zarnik growled, shaking it off. "You still use tricks," he said. "And you still underestimate them," Tom replied. The crowd watched, amazed. The match lasted longer this time. Tom was faster, smarter. He used the whole field, jumping and sliding, using walls and floors. To his advantage, he didn't try to fight head-on. He made Zarnik chase him. Then, near the end, Tom did something bold. He stood still and waved his hand. "Come on," he shouted. Zarnik roared and ran straight at him. Tom threw a flash grenade. When Zarnik blinked, Tom was already behind him. He pressed a button. A net flew out and wrapped Zarnik's legs for 2 seconds. That was enough. Tom jumped and pressed his shield to Zarnik's chest. "Boom," he said. The crowd gasped. If it were real, Zarnik would have been blasted by a shockwave. The lights turned red. The referee called out, "Simulation shows Varnak warrior defeated." Silence. Then, "Cheers." Zarnek stood still, breathing hard. He had not been hurt, but he knew what happened. "I lost." The referee nodded. "By rules of simulation and capture, the human wins." Zarnik looked at Tom. The human stood calmly, sweat on his forehead, hand still on the shield. "You beat me," Zarnik said slowly. "You? A human?" Tom nodded once. "Yes, I did." After the match, the two stood face to face again. "I remember my words," Zarnik said. "I said if a human ever beat me, I would marry them." Tom gave a tired laugh. "I think everyone remembers." Zarnik crossed his arms. "Do you wish to claim that promise?" Tom shook his head. "No, I didn't fight for that. I fought for respect, for peace." Zarnik nodded. "Good answer." Then he did something no one expected. He raised his arm, made a Varnak salute, and said loudly, "Today, I was bested, and I honor the one who did it. Let all Varnak know this human is no longer pathetic. He is a warrior." The stadium shook with applause. For the next several days, Earth was full of celebration. Tom became a hero overnight. People across the world talked about him, shared his story, and thanked him for standing up to Zarnik. But Tom stayed quiet. He didn't enjoy fame. He went back to his small lab and continued working. For him, the fight was not about being a hero. It was about showing aliens that humans mattered too. Mira visited him often. She was happy for him, but also thoughtful. "Do you know what this means?" she asked one evening. "You didn't just win a fight. You broke a wall between two worlds." Tom looked at her. "Do the Varnak know that?" Mira sighed. "Some do. Some don't. Many still think humans are weak. But Zarnik, he changed. Far away, on a ship orbiting Earth, Zarnik stood before a council of Varnak leaders. The room was full of tall warriors, each one wearing armor and medals. They stared at Zarnik with serious faces. "You let a human defeat you," one of them said. "Double quotes, yes," Zarnik replied, standing tall. "And he did it with skill, with honor. He was not strong in body, but strong in mind." Embarrassed. "You?" another said. "That weak creature made you drop your sword, then tricked you again?" "Twice." Zarnik did not get angry. He fought smart. He earned my respect. And by our code, he has my respect. The room was silent. Finally, the oldest among them spoke. "You gave your word. Said if a human beat you, you would marry them. Will you keep that vow?" Zarnik closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them. "I will honor my promise," he said. But the human refused. He did not want marriage. He wanted peace. That answer surprised even the council. One leader leaned forward. "A human. Refused glory?" "Yes," Zarnik said. "He is not greedy. He is brave. He is different." Back on Earth, Tom received a message. It came from Zarnik himself. "I will return in 10 days. This time, I invite you to fight on my world. Let our people see you. If you accept, come with Myra. Bring your mind. Right. Bring your courage. Tom read the message twice. Then he looked at Mira. Will I be safe there? He asked. Mira thought for a moment. No, she said honestly. Some Varnock will hate you. But Zarnak will protect you, and I will too. Tom nodded. Then I'll go. 10 days later, Tom stood inside Zarnik's ship. It was dark and cold, filled with glowing lights and sharp metal walls. Mira walked beside him, speaking in her language to the guards. Zarnik met them near the command room. He looked as proud as ever, but there was warmth in his eyes now. Welcome, human, Zarnik said. Are you ready to show my people what? You showed me? Tom smiled. Yes, let's finish this. The Varnock planet was covered in silver cities, tall towers, and training arenas. Their sky was dark red, and the wind was sharp like needles. The main arena was even bigger than Earth's stadium. Thousands of Varnock came to watch. Tom stood on one side of the field. Zarnik stood on the other. This will not be like Earth, Zarnik said. This is a real fight. No simulations. No fake rules. But I promise not to kill you. Tom laughed nervously. Thanks, I'll try not to die. The Varnock audience laughed. They liked Tom's spirit, even if they didn't say it out loud. The referee raised a hand. Begin. Zarnik came fast, just like before. But this time, Tom was faster too. He had new boots with stronger boosters. He dodged, jumped, and used the air to fly around the arena. He pressed buttons on his wrist. From small tubes, smoke and light exploded, blinding the crowd for a moment. Zarnik swung, but Tom had already rolled behind him. He used his shield to block a second strike. Then he slid under Zarnik's legs and pressed a small disc on the aliens. Back the disc beeped, Tag Tom said. The crowd gasped. Zarnik turned, growling. You love tricks, and you fall for them, Tom replied. Zarnik smiled. Good. The fight continued. For 10 minutes, they battled. Tom was tired, but never gave up. Zarnik hit him once, twice, but Tom always got back up. At last, Tom used his final move. He ran straight toward Zarnik. The alien raised his sword, ready to strike. But at the last second, Tom jumped, bounced off the sword, and flew over Zarnik's head. He turned in the air and fired a small sticky net. It wrapped around Zarnik's legs. As Zarnik tried to break free, Tom landed behind him and placed his shield on the alien's back. Game over, Tom said. The referee looked at the sensors. Zarnik defeated. The crowd was completely silent. Then slowly, the Varnock began to clap one by one. The sound grew louder and louder. A human had won. On Varnock ground, after the fight, Zarnik stood up. He looked tired but not angry. He raised Tom's arm high in the air. This is the human who beat me 3 times, he shouted. He is not weak. He is not soft. He is not pathetic. Looked at the crowd. He is my equal. That night, Tom stood on a balcony overlooking the Varnock city. Mira stood beside him. You changed him, she said. Tom shook his head. No, he changed himself. I just helped. She smiled. Maybe you changed more than just one alien. Far below, Varnock children were playing. One of them wore goggles like Tom's. Another held a small wooden shield. Tom laughed softly. Maybe. Zarnik sat alone in the Hall of Honor. The room was quiet, lit by soft blue lights. Tall statues of great Varnock warriors stood around him. They all had strong faces, sharp weapons, and proud eyes. But today, Zarnik did not feel like a statue. He felt something else, something new. He had been trained to believe that only the strongest mattered, that winning by force was the only way. But a human named Tom had defeated him 3 times, not by muscle, but by cleverness, patience, and spirit. Zarnik smiled to himself. Strange human, he said quietly, you have changed me. The doors opened. Mira stepped inside. The council wants to speak with you again, she said. Zarnik stood up. Let them speak. I am not afraid. Inside the Varnock council chamber, 12 elders waited. They were the oldest and wisest of the Varnock. Their faces were calm but serious. Zarnik, The leader spoke. You have broken tradition. You've lost 3 times. And you praised the one who beat you. Zarnik nodded. I did. Some say you are weak now, that you let your heart guide you. Zarnik did not look away. I followed honor. I gave my word, and I kept it. That is not weakness. You invited the human to our world. You let him win in front of our people. Zarnik raised his voice. I did not let him win. He earned it. The room was silent for a moment. Then the leader asked, Do you still stand by your vow? Yes, Zarnik said. I said I would. Marry any human who beat me? He beat me. I gave him the choice. He refused. That is his right. Mira stepped forward. Tom did not come here to claim reward. He came to build peace. That shows strength too. The elders looked at each other. Finally the leader spoke again. You will remain a warrior, Zarnik. But your future will be different. You are no longer just a fighter. You are a bridge between worlds. Zarnik nodded slowly. He accepted the new path. Meanwhile, Tom walked through the Varnak capital with Mira. Aliens watched him wherever he went. Some stared, some whispered, but others smiled or nodded. Few even waved. Children ran beside him asking questions. Boy asked, Are you the human who beat Zarnik? Tom smiled. Yes, I guess I am. The boy looked at him with wide eyes. Can you teach me how to fly with your boots? Tom laughed. Maybe one day. Looked farther. Mira looked. At him, you've become famous here. I didn't plan for that, Tom said. I just wanted to be useful. You were more than useful, Mira said. You made history. They reached a large hall with smooth glass walls. Inside, Varnak engineers were working on strange machines. One of them wore a human-style tool belt. This is the Varnak Science Center, Mira said. They want to meet you. Inside, the head scientist, a tall female Varnak named Thera, greeted Tom. We have studied your tools, Thera said. Your shield, your traps, your flying boots. Very clever designs. Tom felt shy. Thank you, Thera continued. We would like to learn from you. Share our ideas with your people. Tom looked around. I'd like that. Maybe I can help. Thera smiled. Then stay. Teach us. That night, Tom stood on a tall platform, looking at the stars. Zarnik joined him. The alien was quiet for a moment. I have fought many battles, Zarnik said, but you are the only one who changed me. Tom looked at him. You changed too. You chose respect. That's rare. Zarnik nodded. The council still talks. About my vow. Some want me to marry you anyway. Just to follow tradition. Tom laughed. That would be awkward. Zarnik smiled. It's very. Then he grew serious. But I am glad you refused. You did not fight for reward. You fought to be seen. That makes you stronger than most. Tom looked at the sky. I didn't think I'd come this far. I was just a quiet engineer. And now I'm here, on another world, talking to an alien warrior. Zarnik looked at him. You are not just an engineer. You're a warrior in your own way. The next day, Tom began teaching. He worked with young Varnak students, showing them how to build safe tools, smart machines, and nonviolent weapons. He explained how humans use knowledge to solve problems. The students were curious. Some even laughed when they saw Tom's drawings. But they listened carefully. They began to build their own versions of his gear. In return, Varnak engineers showed Tom how their energy worked, how their armor was made, and how they trained for battle. Together, they learned. Together, they built. Something new. Weeks passed. One day, Earth sent a message. Tom, we want you to return. There's much to discuss, and people miss you. Tom looked at Mira and Zarnik. I think it's time to go home. Zarnik nodded. You will always be welcome here, Mira added, and you will not be forgotten. Tom packed his small bag. Before leaving, he stood in the same arena where he had fought Zarnik. The crowd gathered once more. This time there was no fight, only farewell. Zarnik stepped forward. This human came as a challenger. He leaves as a friend. Let all Varnak remember his name? Tom bowed. The crowd clapped. Then, with Mira by his side, he boarded the ship back to Earth. On the journey, Tom asked, "Do you think peace between humans and Varnock will really happen?" Mira looked at the stars. "It already has. You started it." Tom smiled. "Then I guess the real work begins now." Tom's ship entered Earth's orbit quietly. From the window, the blue planet looked peaceful, like a calm ocean in the middle of stars. But Tom's heart felt heavy. Many things had changed. He was no longer the quiet engineer who lived alone. He had seen another world. He had stood before warriors and won their respect. Now he was returning home. Mira stood beside him on the ship. She had decided to visit Earth as the first Varnock peace visitor. Her job was to help build trust between the two species. But secretly, she also wanted to understand Tom's world, just as Tom had understood hers, as the ship landed. Cameras flashed, people cheered, and world leaders smiled. Tom felt shy, but he waved kindly. He did not like attention, but he knew this moment was important. Myra stood tall, calm, and proud. It was her first time breathing Earth's air. "It smells soft," she said. Tom laughed. "It's rain. You'll get used to it." Later, Tom spoke at a world meeting, told them about the Varnock, their strengths, their pride, their mistakes, and their honor. He explained how peace was possible not through weapons, but through understanding and respect. Some leaders believed him. Some were still unsure. But many saw something in Tom's eyes truth. Soon, Earth and Varnock signed an agreement, an exchange of knowledge, not war. As part of this new peace, Zarnik invited Tom to return one last time. But this time, the invitation was different. "Come not as a challenger, come as a warrior. Fight me once more not to win, but to teach.
Out.
Let our people learn through us." Tom read the message with care. Then he looked at Mira. "Should I accept again?" Mira smiled. "You already know your answer." Weeks later, Tom stood once more in the great Varnock arena. This time it was not just Varnock in the crowd. Many humans had come to scientists, students, explorers. The first time in history both species sat together. Zarnik stepped into the field, his armor shining, his sword on his back. He looked the same, but something in his face was calmer now. Tom walked toward him, wearing his new gear. It was simple, but strong, a mix of Earth design and Varnock metal. He had built it himself. Zarnik greeted him with a nod. "Are you ready, human?" Tom smiled. "Always." Mira stood at the center as referee. She raised her hand and said, "This is not a fight for victory. This is a fight for learning. Begin." Zarnik moved first, slow and controlled. Tom responded with care. Each step, each move, was like a dance. They remembered each other's tricks. They knew the rhythms. Tom used his boots to jump and dodge. Zarnik blocked with his shield. Tom fired a small light too. Blind Zarnik turned away just in time. The crowd didn't cheer for hits or falls. They clapped when a good move was made. When one dodged smartly and one showed control, at one point Zarnik raised his sword high and shouted, "Now!" Tom saw it coming. He flipped backward and threw a pulse disc that pushed Zarnik back. The alien slid, then smiled. "Better than last time." Tom laughed. "I've had good teachers." They fought for 10 full minutes. Not to hurt, but to show skill, patience, and respect. Then, they both stopped at the same time, breathing hard. Mira raised both hands. "The battle is complete." The arena shook with applause. After the match, Zarnik and Tom stood before the audience. Zarnik spoke first. "This human once made me laugh. I thought he was weak. Now, I call him a brother." He looked at the Varnock crowd. "Remember this day? We do not lose honor by learning from others. We gain it." Then Tom stepped forward. "I was afraid when I first saw Zarnik, but I faced him anyway. Because sometimes one step of courage can start a new road." He turned to both sides. "That road is now open for all of us." That evening, a celebration was held. Music from both worlds played. Food was shared. Young Varnock and humans sat together, showing each other games, tools, and stories. Tom sat near a quiet fire, watching them. Mira sat beside him, her eyes soft. "You did it," she said. "No," Tom said. "We did it." Zarnik joined them, holding 2 cups. He handed one to Tom. "This drink is for victory, but tonight we drink for peace." Clinked their cups together. Later, a Varnock child approached Tom. "Sir," the child said, holding a small notebook. "Can you sign this?" Tom smiled and took the pen. "What's your name, Liko?" the boy said. "I want to be an inventor like you." Tom wrote a small message in the book. "Think with your heart. Build with your mind." Liko smiled and ran off. Zarnik watched and said, "That boy will grow strong with the right kind of strength." Tom nodded. The strength to build. That night, Tom stood once again on the balcony of his guest room, looking at the stars. Mira joined him. "Do you think they'll keep walking this road?" Tom asked. Mira looked up. "Some will, some won't. But the first step is the hardest, and you made that step." Tom was quiet for a moment. "Do you remember what Zarnik said the first time?" he asked. Mira grinned. "Yes. If a pathetic human ever beats me, I'll marry them." Tom laughed. "What a journey from that moment," Mira said. "And you never asked him to marry you." Tom smiled. "No, but I think what we built together was better." The celebration lasted for 2 full days. For the first time in history, humans and Varnock laughed, talked, and shared food together in one place. The air was filled with music, lights, and joy. But even during the joy, whispers moved through. The crowd, some remembered Zarnik's old vow. "If a pathetic human ever beats me, I'll marry them." He had said those words before his first match with Tom. At the time, everyone thought it was a joke. But now, Tom had beaten him 3 times. And not one of them was by accident. People began to ask questions, some in humor, some in seriousness. Will Zarnik keep his word? Does Tom want that? Was the vow just for honor, or was it real? Zarnik sat in the Hall of Warriors, deep in thought. A group of young Varnock soldiers sat nearby, whispering about the fights in the new peace. One asked, "Is it true?" He made a vow. Another nodded. Yes, and he lost. 3 times. Zarnik heard them. He stood and walked over. "I made a vow," he said clearly. The room fell silent. "I said I would marry any human who beat me. I did not think it was possible. I was proud, maybe too proud." The soldiers looked up at him with wide eyes, but that human, Zarnik continued, did not fight for reward. He fought for respect, and he gave it back in return. He refused the offer. That is a greater answer than any vow. Meanwhile, Tom was fixing a broken drone in the training yard. A group of Varnock children gathered around him, watching him work. One girl asked, "Did you really beat Zarnik 3 times?" Tom smiled. "Yes, but I didn't hurt him. I just outsmarted him." Another boy asked, "Did he ask you to marry him after?" Tom laughed softly. "No, he offered once. I said no. We both agreed peace is the real prize." The children looked, confused. "But you could have become a royal," one said. "A warrior's mate." Tom gently put down his tools. "That's not why I fought. I never wanted a crown. You wanted friendship, not fame." Later that day, a large gathering was called in the arena, not for battle, but for a ceremony. Both humans and Varnock were invited. Leaders from Earth arrived, dressed in formal suits. Varnock Council elders came in long robes with silver patterns. Tom stood at the center, next to Mira. Zarnik stood across from him, wearing a ceremonial chestplate. It was not for war, it was for honor. The elder leader of the Varnock Council stepped forward. His voice was deep and clear. "Today, we honor a warrior who kept his word, and another who showed us the value of humility and peace." He turned to Zarnik. "You spoke proudly in the beginning. You laughed at the idea of being beaten. But when you lost, you did not hide. You stood tall. You respected your vow." Then he turned to Tom. "And you, human, could have asked for anything. Oh, but you chose no reward. That makes your victory even greater." The crowd clapped softly. Sarna stepped forward. "In the past, I made a vow in pride. Today I release that vow in shame, but in respect." Tom looked at him. "I accept that." Zarnik placed one hand on his chest. But I also offer a new vow, he said, one made not in pride, but in friendship. He turned to the people and spoke loudly. Let our worlds learn from each other. Let humans and Varnock stand side by side, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as friends. Everyone stood. Others wiped their eyes. It was not a wedding. It was something deeper. A new promise between two worlds. After the ceremony, Mira and Tom walked along the Varnock River path, where lights floated above the water. It was quiet and peaceful. Mira looked at him. That was a strong moment. Tom nodded. I think it was better than any marriage vow. You made a bridge, she said. You crossed it. Then you helped others cross too. Tom watched the river flow. Do you think they'll remember this moment? Mira smiled. They'll teach it in schools. They'll write it in history. It will become more than a story. It will become a symbol. That evening, Zarnik visited Tom in his guest room. I have a gift, Zarnik said. He opened a box. Inside was a small medal. It had the symbol of Earth and the Varnock star together. We are giving this only to two people, Zarnik said.
Oh, you?
And me. Tom took the medal and turned it in his hand. What does it say? Zarnik translated the words, the one who lost with honor, the one who won with peace. Tom stood and bowed. Thank you. Zarnik nodded.
Thank you for making
me better. The next day, Tom prepared to return to Earth. His mission was complete, but he knew the journey of peace was just beginning. Mira packed her things as well. She had been offered a place as Earth's first alien cultural guide. She accepted with joy. As they boarded the ship, Varnock's students waved goodbye. Some more human backpacks. Others carried notebooks with both alien and English letters written on them. Zarnik stood at the launch pad. He didn't say goodbye. He only raised his fist to his chest, the Varnock salute of deep respect. Tom returned the salute with a smile. Ship rose into the sky. Inside the ship, Mira looked out the window. It's strange, she said. I came to Earth as a translator. Then I became a peace builder. Tom leaned back in his seat. Came as a joke. Then I became part of a new history. They both laughed softly. As stars passed by outside, Mira asked, What happens now? Tom smiled. Now, ... we build the future. The ship moved silently through space, carrying Tom and Myra back to Earth. The stars outside were bright and calm. But inside the ship, their minds were full of thoughts about the future. Tom looked at Myra. We did a lot. We changed many minds. But this is only the start. Mira nodded. Peace is not easy. It needs care. It needs patience. Tom smiled. I'm ready for that. After all, I never fought for a quick victory. I fought for respect. Back on Earth, the world had changed. News of Tom's victories and the peace treaty spread everywhere. Scientists began talking with Varnock engineers. Students learned about alien culture and technology. Tom was invited to speak at schools and conferences. But he always said the same thing. Strength is not just in muscles or weapons. Strength is in courage, honor, and the will to understand others. One day, Tom visited a school filled with curious children. They asked many questions about the Varnock, about Zarnik, and about the battles. One little girl raised her hand.
Did it?
You really beat Zarnik? Tom smiled and said, Yes, I did. But the best part was that he became my friend. Meanwhile, on Varnock, Zarnik watched the news about Earth's new friendships and projects. The warrior who once laughed at humans was now proud of what they had achieved together. He trained new fighters, but also taught them the lessons he learned from Nisel. Being strong is important, Zarnik told the young warriors. But being wise and respectful is even more important. One day, Zarnik received a message from Earth. You are invited to visit Earth as an ambassador. To help build peace and friendship. Zarnik smiled. He was ready. Months later, Zarnik landed on Earth again. This time he came not as a challenger, but as a guest of honor. Leaders from Earth welcomed him warmly. Tom met him at the spaceport. They shook hands firmly. Welcome back, Tom said. Zarnik nodded. Thank you. It feels like coming home. Together they visited schools, research centers, and museums.
Ow.
They showed people how to work together, humans and Varnock, side by side. Tom and Zarnik often spoke in front of crowds. Peace is not a gift, Zarnik said. It is something we must earn every day, Tom added. It starts with respect and grows with friendship. Their words inspired many. Soon, young humans in Varnock began working on new projects. They built better machines, cleaner energy, and new ways to explore the stars. One quiet evening, Tom and Zarnik sat by a campfire outside the city. The firelight flickered on their faces. Zarnik looked at Tom and smiled. You changed the fate of two worlds. Tom laughed softly. I had good teachers. You taught me honor. Mira helped me see the bigger picture. Zarnik nodded. Taught me humility. That even the smallest human can have the greatest heart. They sat in silence, watching the stars. Then Zarnik said, about that vow I made, ... Tom raised an eyebrow. Zarnik laughed, a deep sound. I was proud, too proud. But you showed me the meaning of true strength. Tom smiled. So no marriage? Zarnik shook his head. No, but I offer you something better, a lifelong friendship. Tom nodded. I accept that. As the years passed, Earth and Varnock grew closer. Trade, science, and culture flowed between the planets. Young humans dreamed of visiting Varnock, and young Varnock dreamed of visiting Earth. Tom became a teacher and leader, always reminding people of the lessons learned from Zarnik and Mira. Zarnik became an ambassador, respected by both Varnock and humans. His story, once one of pride and challenge, became one of peace and hope. One day, Tom stood before a new generation of students. He looked at their eager faces. Remember, he said, strength comes in many forms. Courage, respect, and the will to understand others, that is the power that can change worlds. A young boy raised his hand. Will humans ever fight aliens again? Tom smiled. Maybe. But I hope when we do, it will be with respect, not hate. The boy nodded. As Tom walked out of the classroom, Mira waited for him outside. You've done well, she said softly. Tom looked at her and smiled. Did well, together. Mira took his hand, and the story continues, she said. Far above the earth and Varnock, a new star shone, bright, a symbol of friendship, courage, and a future built together. The worlds were no longer enemies. They were no longer strangers. They were allies. They were family.